Hello, hello. Right. Uh, so we're gonna get started. So let me know. Also, is this in Super Antiprime? I should have seen that. Hold on. Why is this in Italian? Hold on. PSM. Hold on. That's a PDF, right? I thought so. That was number one in Italian. Okay, there we go. I turn this down because it's kind of loud in my ear. Alright. Where's this at? So cool. So cool. So, PSM number 1. Very cool. From my understanding, I believe CGQ, which is Classic Gaming Quarterly, explained that this is an offshoot from another magazine, directly to exclusively cover PlayStation console when it was brand new. I think they're like EGM, one of those EGM kind of magazines, but this is kind of what I grew up with, was PSM. I grew up with it during the PlayStation 2. So it's interesting to go back because I really enjoyed reading their magazine. It was very silly, very gamer, like, centered magazine. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was silly. Very horny as well. At times. But I don't know if it's just nostalgia if I liked it, or let's see if it's any good. So I learned a lot from them, actually. So they were the ones that got me to know my foot in the door about being a huge fucking nerd about video games. So that's why I'm interested in this. So let's look at this cover real quick. So we got Final Fantasy VII, arguably the biggest game of all time, right? One of the biggest games of all time. Mainly because people didn't understand RPGs at this time. In the 90s, a lot of people didn't even play Chrono Trigger, you know? As much as that game's loved. No Chrono Trigger, no Earthbound. People just did not get turn-based RPGs at all. For some reason, these characters, with their character designs, really grasp people into wanting to play. And I want to say it's because of the graphics as well, because it's the first 3D JRPG. So that probably really grasps the interest of those that would never play one. So, 16 pages. Every PlayStation code ever. Well, this is the first issue, so as far as we know. So, mind blowing. We got Crash 2, Blasto. I'll talk about Blasto in a bit. Gex 2. I didn't play that one. Castlevania, Tomb Raider 2, Game Day 98, and Madden 98. So 2 football games. So cool. And then you could get this cover with the PlayStation. This was their mascot, their first mascot. And you could actually find this mascot in some PlayStation 2 games, if I remember correctly. I know one's in Silent Hill 3, and I believe I've seen it somewhere as a visual Easter egg in one of the cutscenes on Devil May Cry 1. So, that being said, let's keep going. So, I can actually hear your pupils dilate. Like, you would stare at this back in the day like, what the heck am I looking at right here? And probably, like, I'm be amazed by what this looks like. Like, I want to see if I can play this, right? So, it looks sick. It looks, like, mysterious. And then you probably bought it, so it's pretty cool. Jersey Devil, I played this demo. Not too good of a game, I will have to say. It's very bland. Controls aren't too good. And the physics aren't too good, so. The Beast is Loose. Looks to be one damn fine game. It should prove one of the hotter titles we'll see this fall season. So. Large 3D levels. It's okay. Alright, next one. Machine Hunter, never heard of that. But it looks like a top-down kind of shooter. Maybe it's like Apocalypse with Bruce Willis. But I never played it. It's by Eurocom. So, that's cool. So, Chris Slate was... I remember being there the whole time. So let's read It's About Time. Ooh, what a month. Between my trip to E3 and putting together the first issue, I've hardly had time to catch my breath. Now as I sit here finishing off the last page, I'm looking over the rest of the magazine spread out before me. I've realized something of profound importance. I need sleep bad. That and the fact that this mag is absolutely going to rock. Some of you may know me from the years that I worked on Ultra Game Players. There it is. That's the magazine. Ultra Game Players. I had a lot of fun working on that book. And I've always been proud of the things we were able to accomplish. Well, let me tell you, I've never been as excited as I am right now about PSM and about the PlayStation. When I was first offered the job, I was elated because all the coming games I wanted to work with were on PlayStation. When you've got titles like Resident Evil 2, Tomb Raider 2, Metal Gear Solid, and Crash 2 to look forward to, it's pure joy driving into work each morning. Now is a great time to be into video games, and it's the best time to be a PlayStation fan. Absolutely. The best thing about this magazine is 100% pure PlayStation. That means more than just tossing out the Nintendo and Saturn reviews. It's a state of mind. PSM is written only for hardcore PlayStation fanatics, in a way that's directed exclusively to you. And don't worry, we're completely unofficial. You won't miss out on anything that Sony may not want you to see. And you will always be completely unbiased with an E. Unbiased. Okay. So, enough talk already. I'm going home to bed. Enjoy the issue and be sure to drop us a line with your comments. I want this to be a real reader's mag, and that only works when you participate. See you soon. So, that's the editor-in-chief. So, favorite types of games. You like platform, RPG, sports, comics, animation, movies, basketball, the Crow City of Angels. Yeah, that one's a terrible game. Is that the beat 'em up one? I think so. Favorite video game quote. I'll put on my magic gloves of glory and take you on a cruise to destroy all of you. Joe Chin, Parappa the Rapper. Alright. Stephen Frost. He was pretty long term, if I remember correctly, too. Fighting RPG, racing, anime movies, designing websites. Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, Iron and Blood. Most hated game. Get loose. You cannot compete with my powers. Get loose. Maybe it says that in the game. But there's already typos. What's this editor? Flying, racing, weird games. That game, Lemmings 3D, sure. Something went wrong with the preparation of my Tanka, codename Tanka. Never heard of that one. Um, Fighting jet combat sims. What's his favorite? Most hated game, Metal Jacket. Favorite video game, Joe. See, he was already on this. Joe, here's a lockpick. It might be handy if you, the master of unlocking, take it with you. Yep. Forever. Forever iconic. That's cool. Even back then, they were making fun of it. But that's what we liked about it. This is how corny it was. So here's every PlayStation code. I mean, that would have been cool way back then. Because back then, you had to get code books or magazines to find out secret codes. So, know your PlayStation. So here's the bone controller, the original controller that came with the PlayStation. Did not always have the analog sticks. I see Tekken players play with these bone controllers, which I might have to get into myself. Looks pretty good. So, Getaway Driver's Handbook, Ace Combat 2. So, biggest PlayStation game of the year, 1997. We got all the expert info you need to get you started on your big adventure. Be warned, though, our strategy is so complete you only want to peek at it when you're really stuck. You may spoil the game for yourself. Yep. Okay, so, there's a bunch of stuff. What's going on? Ask Sony, I like these. I'll go over these letters because they're very unique for the time. And whatever games we like, so. They got a lot of games. If you're half as excited about the PlayStation as we are, then there's no time to spare. Just use the list below to go directly to the games you're interested in. Alright, cool. So, top 25 PlayStation games. That's interesting what they thought at the time. So, we will definitely go there. Okay? Alright, so here's E3 1997. Whew. Rest in peace. PlayStation KOs the competition. PlayStation thrashed the competition with an unbeatable lineup of games. If you're a hardcore gamer, then there's no better place to be than the annual Electronic Entertainment Expo. Yeah, we know E3. It was held in Atlanta this year for the first time from June 19th through the 20th. E3 is like dying and going to video game heaven. That's true, especially at that time. Probably an amazing experience. Probably felt super exclusive to see. The seemingly endless show floor is packed with outrageous booths from every game company, each with its fair number of obligatory video game babes. Yep, that's true. They used to have booth babes. So they had these girls dress up as characters. They were like models or something. So they were like, you know, I don't want to say better than your average cosplayer because I don't really go to those things, but they were made to leave a positive impression, that's for sure. Anyone is there, from top video game designers to film and sports celebrities. The drinks are free, the parties are wild, and best of all, you get to play countless new games months before they hit the stores. Since the average consumer isn't all allowed in, always a place I dream to go, man. We here at PSM took it upon ourselves to go to the show, play the games, go to all the parties, and meet the models, just so we can come back and tell you, our beloved readers, about everything that went on. Okay, so we're full of crap. They had to drag us back into the office. So, I scrolled too much. I thought I could zoom in. So it says, sorry, Nintendo. The day before the show began, Nintendo held its traditional pre-E3 press conference, and we here at PSM decided to stop by and scope out PlayStation's main competitions. Friends, it wasn't pretty for about 2 hours, and we had to sit through the saddest presentation ever. Oh my god. First off, Nintendo executives kept tossing out sales numbers, pie charts, and fancy graphs in an attempt to show how successful they were last year. But in every single one of their presentations, they added in PlayStation sales numbers to pad their stats and hide their own figures. They kept talking about the success of the next generation platforms to make Nintendo 64 look good. They knew if they were to talk strictly in 64, it would become apparent that PlayStation was giving them a royal butt kicking. I mean, we here at PSM don't have anything against Nintendo personally. it's put out some great games in the past. I'll just say that right now. We're really glad we bought PlayStations. I have to agree. There's only a handful of good games for N64, which are still good games today, if you can tolerate them. There's just way more variety and unique and specialness about the PlayStation at that time. So this is before when I came in. So I came in 1998, and I was blown away by just how unique every single game felt at that time. So I can only imagine at this time the buildup of excitement if you've been with the system for that long. You were able to see the future slowly come into your reality. You were able to kind of grasp it throughout that time. So that was an exciting era, right? So Sony's best ever lineup of first party games. Now if we've gotten the ugly stuff out of the way, let's talk about where the real action was. Sony's booth, of course. Oh my god. Within the boundaries of Sony's incredibly huge PlayStation areas were undoubtedly the hottest games of the show. Playable versions of the US Final Fantasy VII and Parappa the Rapper were shown for the first time, and they were big crowd pleasers for the duration of the show. Brand new titles like Crash 2 and Blasto were also shown off in spectacular fashion, each one displayed in its own specially themed area of Sony's booth. A quick jog upstairs led to Sony's Sports Bar, where you could grab a drink and check out the 98 versions of NFL Game Day 98, NHL Face-Off, and MLB 98. Finally, the entire area was covered with rows of other playable games. These include big-name titles like Jet Moto 2, as well as unheard-of new games like Exodus, Sony's new action mech game. Sony's booth also features some prominent third-party titles, but let's save those for the following section. Yeah. So, the most and the strongest third-party titles, I guess, on PlayStation, right? While Nintendo and Sega both suffered miserably from a third-party drought, nearly every publisher at the show has something new on display for PlayStation. More than ever, the better games were Sony exclusive. Eidos, for example, has decided that it just isn't worth it to put Tomb Raider 2 out on the Saturn. Oof. I didn't know that. Also, previous Nintendo exclusive scenes like Capcom's Mega Man and Konami's Metal Gear and Castlevania have all defected to PlayStation. Finally, the few games that were previously thought to be exclusive to other systems, such as Capcom's Street Fighter vs. X-Men, are for the most part coming to PlayStation after all. Yeah. Well, Capcom certainly loved the PlayStation after a while. So, whatever this is, a racing wheel, $70. I wonder if we could find a racing wheel now and play PS1 Gran Turismo or something. That'd be kind of cool. Best of the best. So here's our top 6 picks that were at E3 for them, okay? So, Final Fantasy VII, of course. Most people played the Japanese version, but Final Fantasy VII still cemented the most respect among the press and buyers alike, okay? Metal Gear Solid. So this wasn't out yet. Even though this game wasn't playable, the videotaped footage freaking knocked us silly. Could this be 1998 Game of the Year? Absolutely was. Absolutely. What a tough year, though. Resident Evil 2, Ocarina of Time, Squaresoft titles. There's a few, or a couple at least. Metal Gear Solid. Like, one of the greatest years of all time. Tomb Raider 2. More puzzles, more moves, more weapons, more Lara. Any questions? Plus, Eidos had a small army of mega hot models at the booth. Okay. See? Gotta have positive press there. Resident Evil 2. We've got to get our hands on a shotgun and kill us some zombies. Like Metal Gear, there wasn't a playable copy, but the videotape ruled. Alright, so Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I guess that wasn't out yet in September 1997. So, really can't stress enough how amazingly good this game is. If you still don't believe us, check back next issue for the full story. Well, we will. And then Crash 2, one of my favorites on the PlayStation. The first Crash was good, but the sequel rocks. We couldn't put it down at Sony. Sony's big E3 party, even when Soul Asylum came out to play. Oh, is that a... Soul Asylum's a band, I guess. Let's see what Sony dominated. So... this is all propaganda magazine. Of course. So number of PlayStations shipped worldwide. So we got 75 million for Japan. North America, is that 4.8 or 48 million? I'm not sure. So Europe 3.7 and worldwide 16 million. Okay. That's cool. Average software $44. So what's $44 in 1997? Let's find out real quick. $82.75 today. Okay. So the value of our dollar has gone down significantly. Anyway. What's up with PlayStation 2? So. I don't really care for these because we know about the PlayStation 2. It would be interesting to find something that didn't make it. So let me browse real quick. Double speed drive, sure. 8 times disc reading speed. I don't think so. I don't think it went that much. So here's a bunch of other stuff. New controller, great. So this is the Oddworld ad. So there wasn't anything in there. Top selling PlayStation games of all time. Resident Evil 1. So Capcom was working hard on making this sequel better than the original in every way. A lot of people would agree it was. A special version of the first game, Resident Evil Director's Cut, features 3 different versions. 3 different versions of the original game. Playable demo of Resident Evil 2. It's an awesome collection, and I don't know about the 3 different versions. But it does have a cool game mode, which is the variety mode, which I need to play through one of these days. The randomizer. It's basically the item randomizer. Let's see. Net Eurosi, which is the development kit. Sony set to bring console programming to a broader audience. So yeah, the public could buy one of these if I remember correctly. So you can make your own games. So I don't know why. I feel like, okay, well I know why, because if you had to find this now, it'd probably be expensive, and the indie game developers would have to pay out the ass. I was like wondering why they make PS1 type games, and they don't really feel right. But yeah, you could buy this back then. The Net Eurosi, $750. Necessary tools and software libraries that inspiring developers can use to create their own games. The only other necessary piece of equipment is a PC or a PowerPC Macintosh. It's used for storing the actual game code. Knowledge of the C and C++ languages is also crucial. So if you have the technical know-how and the money, you can make your own games. Sony was really pushing out for new developers at that time. I remember that. Because in PlayStation Underground, they had a community development project which tried to get people interested into making games. So they made something on PlayStation Underground, the community, Project Wormhole, which was like it was kind of like a space, it was like a tunnel kind of space game. You could shoot, but it's basically just getting through the tunnel was the goal. Because it has a lot of hazards in the way. And it automatically went on its own. So that was a cool thing of then, because you got to see the update, how they updated Project Wormhole as the months went on, and how they made it better over time. But it was cool. So here's an arcade stick. It was only $40 back then. ASC2. Never heard of one, but yeah, there you go. More Oddworld. That's true. And no buzz for US pads. Sony's new dual analog control pad is slated for release in the US this September. So it's September 1997. There's a Unreal Tournament, Lunar. Yes, Lunar came out. So its working designs may now bring the highly successful Lunar series over to the PlayStation. If you got these, congratulations. They're worth some money. Sega told Working Designs that it didn't have room for them in its E3 booth. Where Working Designs has brought space for the last several years, Working Designs brought the matter to the attention of Sega Japan, but then forced Sega of America to let them in. However, the space was tucked far in the back where most showgoers rarely went. Damn. Eternal struggles at Sega. Since that time, Working Designs President Victor Ireland has been outspoken in his criticism of the Sega of America management, while at the same time hinting that Working Designs' key franchises are likely to wind up on a rival platform. So that's cool. No PlayStation C? No, Laura doesn't do nude scenes. Everybody was saying that she had a nude code somewhere. Nude code. Yep. Many long hours were wasted. Love-sick gamers tried anything and everything to coerce Laura out of her clothes. Doctored pictures even began appearing on the net, featuring Laura in nothing but her birthday suit. I remember those pictures. They were just pixelated. Like they would be in game. Core has long denied that any such code exists, but the rumors just won't die. Never let anything like this get past them. So once and for all, please believe us. There is no nude code. Yeah, a lot of people said, "Oh, I have it on my memory card. I just plug it in my memory card, and you can see you're naked." Things were different. Talk about the character. All those characters speak for themselves. It's okay. I don't want to read those. Table number 2. Nihon Game Otaku. Nihon Game Otaku ran Yokozo. Okay. That's Japanese for welcome to the Japanese Game Addict column. So, couple number 2, which is Squaresoft, you can tell by the Chocobo. And then, what's this one? Alundra? Cho Atsui. So this is Alundra burning up the charts in Japan. So, I think we got Alundra 1 and 2 in the States. So, I think that came to PlayStation. They get soundtrack. Come complete with full color instruction manuals with cool illustrations. Opposed to the cheapo black and white ones we get here in the US. Not true. That is definitely weep talking, because we got full color ones. The black and white ones were mainly on Squaresoft titles and Greatest Hits, and some of them were just black discs too, but for the majority, yeah. Let's see. Opposed to the cheapo black and white ones we get here. And also, the PlayStation discs themselves have much more money put into them over in Japan, as seen by 4 color designs for Horned Owl and Castlevania X. G'day, Janai. So Horned Owl. We just don't get it. There's a fundamental difference between Japanese and American PlayStation fans. While both American and Japanese players crave stuff that's cool, Kakkoi. Hold on. I got lightheaded as fuck reading that. Oh, God. Kakkoi. Kui. The Japanese also have more of a preoccupation with anything kawaii or cute. Kawaii can range from the palatable Gamera 2000 to the sugary sweet Doki Doki Pretty League. It's a lettered type of kawaii that is near and dear to the Japanese player. You can spot these games a mile away, as they're usually permeated with large, starry-eyed anime girls in school uniforms who have either blue, green, purple, or red hair. These girls are even featured in genres of games normally targeted at boys, such as fighting games. One current example of this is the schoolgirl catfight game, Asuka 120%, Excellent Burning Fest. Also, simulation dating games seem to be the reigning kawaii games. As of like, such as Dokimeki Memorial or Classmate 2 and Classmate 2 and Classmate 2. Okay, you play as a schoolboy going through his daily routine of going to classes, playing sports, trying to pick up chicks. Hey, that sounds like Persona. With the exception of perhaps a pretty Sailor Moon, kawaii games don't seem to cut it stateside. So except for import shops, you won't be seeing these anytime soon. So, who told this man that dating sims were kawaii games? I guess the Japanese guy did. Some Japanese guy did. So, oh no, they're not for dating. No, we aren't attracted to these characters. They are cute games. Yeah, I can see that. Japan peripherals. Sony Computer Entertainment's transparent memory card went on sale for a limited summer release on January 17th in Japan. Sales were limited to 300,000. They're priced the same as the regular memory card at about $17. Oh, man, this is hilarious. A grip controller from Hori lets you play RPGs with only one hand. Yosha! It has all the functions of a regular controller, but fits in the palm of your hand. In essence, you move with the heel of your thumb, and you can easily hit the X, circle, square, and triangle buttons with the top of your thumb. Okay, well, there you go. What happened? PlayStation converter that will let you attach a Sega Saturn or Super Nintendo controller to the PlayStation. Very cool at the time. Especially handy for those Street Fighter with a Super Nintendo controller. Yeah. That would have been handy at that time. So, they're gonna review Final Fantasy VII. Let's read that because I know a lot of people love that game. So, I mean, you could start reading it yourself. I'll just go with my history of it. So, I didn't play Final Fantasy VII for several years after it came out. I was in high school around 2004, 2005-ish, 2006. Where I was in summer school for most of my high school. I just did not even try. Because if you're lazy and or intelligent, right? You didn't even try during regular school. There's ways that you can just go through school and skip most of being there. One of those is Saturday school. You get in trouble, right? You can finish all the work of the week in one Saturday school. So 4 hours versus 7 to 8 times 5. So 40 hours a week at school. So 4 versus 40, you decide, right? And then, let's see, what else? And then summer school. which is like 6 weeks or so. I don't remember. 4 weeks maybe. Way easier. So that's my option. That's what I did. So, one of the things I remember was that going through Saturday or summer school, excuse me. If I did well, behaved well, I got one expensive game I wanted. So I got Final Fantasy VII because I wanted to know what the internet was talking about, why it's so loved. And so the game was $70 at the time, Black Label, because there was no remake. There was no Crisis Core. There was later when I was in high school, but there was no Crisis Core at that time. There was Dirge of Cerberus, I believe, but that's it. And people really wanted to check it out at that time. Why is it still so talked about and loved? So I did that. I got it for $70, which was probably more money than it is today. And I played it. And I can't remember a single thing about it, you know. I remember Sephiroth at the end. I remember there being... I don't know. I really liked the world of the original 7. I played Remake a couple times. But the world of the original 7, and it felt a lot more authentic. For some reason. But yeah, let's read this. So, Final Fantasy VII. Anyway, I just talked about another thing. Final Fantasy VII. When starting Final Fantasy VII, Square was certainly under a lot of pressure. After all, the Final Fantasy series has always been immensely popular, and gamers have expected each release to be larger and more innovative than its predecessor. Luckily, Square has pulled it off again. Final Fantasy VII is easily the largest and most innovative RPG ever created. The story revolves around Cloud Strife, an ex-soldier living in a town of Midgar. Controlling the town and the rest of the world is the Shinra Corporation. Ex-soldier. Reminds me of Steven Seagal. He's always ex-something. The rest of the world is this Shinra Corporation, which also happens to be Cloud's former employer. Alright, also true. After finding out that Shinra has been ruthlessly draining the planet of its energy, Cloud decides to assist a rebel group called Avalanche in stopping it. Well, assist. Quote unquote. Hundreds of beautifully rendered backgrounds were created for the game, and they give each locale an eerie sense of realism. Mostly a mixture of low-tech and futuristic building designs, the architecture of the Final Fantasy is unique at the very least. Each town has its share of residents that the game's characters interact with. Some will aid Cloud. Why is this capitalized? While others will attempt to stop him. Why is some capitalized? The game interface to Final Fantasy VII will be very familiar to fans of the series. Attacks and spells are executed in their standard manner as ARA items. No period. A time meter is featured that, when filled up, allows the characters to attack. This provides a nice alternative to the standard turn-based fighting systems in most RPGs. The quote-unquote relics idea of Final Fantasy IV has been retained as well. The relics idea of Final Fantasy IV has been retained as well on it's been approved upon. Who wrote this? This got published. Now called Materia Orbs, they provide various enhancements and abilities for characters. Numerous orbs are scattered throughout the game, so an important strategy is knowing which orb to use at a particular time. Orb. Orb. Not materia. Orb. Orb. Who wrote this? Uh, New to the scenes. The what? New to the Sonus. New to the Sonus is a limit bar, which increases every time your character gets hit during battle. When full, your character can perform a more powerful special attack on the enemy. Okay. The Final Fantasy series has always pushed the limitations of the various consoles that it has graced, and Final Fantasy VII is no exception. By using the 32-bit technology to its fullest, Square has created an experience nothing short of cinematic. No period. Swooping cameras, beautiful backgrounds, and a riveting storyline propel the gamer into another world that seems so real. No period. The only real dent in the armor is the lack of a Red Book audio soundtrack. I'll have to look up what the hell they mean. Red Book audio soundtrack. Basically, all the game's music is played through the PlayStation MIDI chip. While adequate. No period. No comma. This doesn't seem to do... Or no dash. This doesn't seem to do the game justice. Regardless, with over 50 hours of gameplay spanned over 3 discs, this latest installment of the series is certainly the best. Definitely deserves to have a place of honor in every PlayStation owner's collection. True. This review has more errors than probably Final Fantasy VII. True to the series, the characters are the heart and soul of Final Fantasy VII, with emotion-packed storylines and countless subplots. Graphics are heavenly. The music is classic Final Fantasy VII orchestra. Concept redefines series. It does. That's true. I'll play it for months with no sleep. That's what this review seems to be typed on. No sleep. PSM final score 5. A standard setting game no gamer should miss. Absolutely. I agree. Alright. That was a fun read. So, Felony 1179. Never heard of it. Who's ASC2? Excuse me. I don't mean to be dying. Felony, let's get sold. In Felony 1179, you must commit a crime in your car, then flee the scene by any means necessary. If you're the criminal, other cars, roadblocks, and pedestrians are just minor obstacles. Better yet, targets. You start the game with 4 different cars. Race mode. The Vespa's great for avoiding blah blah blah. Graphics are very realistic. 3. A good game, but it could have been great with more tracks. Good game gets a 3. Let's see their review scale again. Oh, okay, it's out of 5. So 3 seems low. Disney's Hercules, I know a lot of people enjoyed that one. 32-bit Disney game. Oh, first one is Pocahontas. First to be released here in the US. Forced to take the role of the heroic Hercules, who must guide him on a quest to rid the world of the nefarious Hades. Through 10 lengthy levels, gamers have to face off against numerous minions like a giant Cyclops and the multi-headed Hydra. Yep, Kingdom Hearts fans can attest to that. To separate this game from the myriad of side-scrollers out there, Disney has incorporated some interesting features. Okay, well, cool. So, that one got free. Disney movie, a Disney movie. Sounds like a Disney movie. It's old, but still fun. I'll play it till I beat it. Cool. Resident Evil Director's Cut. That's one that I have. Let's see what they say. PlayStation's most popular game returns home, and it's better than ever. Now uncut and enhanced, Resident Evil Director's Cut features such extras as new cutscenes, alternate character costumes, and a new monster. The first disc contains the original US version. The Japanese version... Wait, there's 2 discs? Which was a bit... And then special director's cut. This provides the gamer with 3 different difficulty levels and certainly increases the completion's replay value. Did they have different versions they released of the director's cut? I don't remember a Japanese version. As with the original game, gamers can control either Jill Valentine or Chris Redfield. Both are members of STARS, which is Special Tactics Rescue Squad, who have been assigned to investigate a teammate's helicopter crash. Upon finding the crash site, you're chased into a foreboding mansion full of zombies, giant spiders, and other gruesome horrors. Using your brains and whatever weapons you can find, you'll have to fight hard for your survival. However, the most exciting aspect of this compilation isn't really the game itself, but the awesome Resident Evil 2 demo included on the second disc. While it's only a hint at what's to come, the demo does provide Resident Evil fans with a sneak peek at what is easily one of the most anticipated titles of the upcoming year. Gamers looking for a completely new experience may be a bit disappointed, but if you love Resident Evil as much as we do, this game definitely belongs in your collection. There's certainly enough extras to warrant a second look, and you know you can't resist the RE2 demo. Graphics still look great, sure. Music is downright spooky. Concept is cool for fans. I'll play it until I see all the extras. A 5. Of course. Ace Combat. 5. But yeah, I didn't play Ace Combat. That's weird that they called it Ace Combat, because in the US it's called Air Combat. So on this magazine they fixed it. Oh, okay. I'm wrong. Most jet fighting games on PlayStation have been pretty disappointing. The original Air Combat and Bogey Dead 6 being the only exceptions. Next to Namco and Stellar Ace Combat 2, the dry spell is over. Okay, flying over every kind of terrain possible, stunningly beautiful. So that's cool. So, it's a 5 out of 5. Machine Hunter, never heard of it. Namco Museum Volume 4. So I like these, man. Namco Museum. I have volumes 1 and 3, I think. And they're a lot of fun. I think they're the best version of compilations for Namco. Like, even better than PS2 releases, but I haven't played any other ones. Remember, Namco Museums had a virtual museum in there. Actually, you're in first-person mode and you walk through a museum. And there's, like, a bunch of stuff, like, it's like you're in the game world, but also the game world has a museum displaying their own stuff. It's pretty weird, but it's pretty cool as well. So, let's see. Namco Museum Volume 4. Number 4 of the Namco collection has been criticized for the weak nature of games. It includes, directly this disc features 2 of the strongest titles in Namco's library, Pac-Land and Assault. In many ways, Pac-Land was the granddaddy of the modern platform game. Just take one look at this game. Tell me you haven't seen it a zillion times before. Only when Pac-Land first came out, these other games didn't exist. Zooming through ghost-infested platforming filled levels is made all the more hazardous by the constant tapping motion required to make Pac-Man run. Hey, it's no crash beater, but it was state-of-the-art back in the day. It also features more hidden cheats than any other game of its kind. Try jumping at the last second before you cross the goal line. Assault is even better. I never played that one. More stroll down memory lane, retro bus. Rather than a fun gaming experience, there's Gin Per Tornaden, a side-scrolling beat-em-up, and the Ninja Gaiden mold. Perhaps even less interesting is Return of Ishtar. Wait, that sounds familiar. Is that the one with the Return of Ishtar? I want to say that's one of the first voice cabinets, right? The strength of the first 2 titles more than what makes up for those slight deficiencies. Namco Museum Volume 4 it was a good value and good fun. That is, if you're old enough to have been around back when these games were big in the first place. True. But I did discover some great classics from these. Tower of Druaga is super fun, I think. And I'm pretty good at Galaga, thanks to those. Super Street Fighter Collection. So here's the DSP championship game. So we know about Street Fighter. We don't need to read that. Street Fighter is always good. PS NHL Power Play. Poi Poi. 4-player party game that borders on mayhem. The low points of which are feeling insanity at the high points. Which is pretty much all the time. Hey, I like that. 4 players enter one of 7 rings, with each ring being populated with rocks, bombs, and other throwable objects. What happens next is so simple. It's almost mind-boggling that 4 players start picking up the items and throwing them at each other. That's it. You throw stuff at other people. You even throw other people at other people. Brilliant. Other game publishers may do well to take notes of the appeal of such simplicity. Yeah. The throwing continues until everyone, save one, is dead. Of course. It might be fun. I wonder if it plays well today. So here's fun with some. Cut a great deal at Sears. Hell yeah. Clip this coupon and take it to any Sears Funtronics department for 1 t-shirt and it's $10 off the regular price of Final Fantasy VII. Oh my god, even coupons, unless it's just the way it scans, has a typo. Good for 1 Final Fantasy VII t-shirt and E. $10 off single Sears Funtronics department regular purchase price. Yeah, I think it might be the scan. VAD. So, does anyone have this shirt? I mean, no. Just surrender on a white t-shirt. Excuse me. I don't know where I'm coughing from. I guess I don't talk too much regularly. Warhawk, which PlayStation loves, but not a lot of people remember. Battle Arena Toshinden. A lot of people, old heads, old fighting game heads, like that game. And then Jumping Flash 2, which was a first-person 3D platformer, which somehow worked. It was not Bubsy. So, they did a really good job. 4.5 stars. Okay. Alright, now let's get to the fun stuff. The top PlayStation 25 games of all time. We could sit here in some stuffy room, come up with what we think are the best games, but we know the only opinions that really count here are yours. The hardcore PlayStation gamers. So we went to the internet and let people vote on their favorites through their website, which was accessible from many of the websites on the Imagine Games Network. Was that IGN? Might provide a list of contenders, including every game that could conceivably warrant a consideration. Okay. Without further ado, let's see what number 25 is. Jumping Flash. Yeah, it's a good game. Warhawk. Yeah. Command Conquer, Wipeout. There's a time before 1997 that I just did not understand. 1997 on, I completely get though. So, Wipeout, Command Conquer, great. So, let's keep going. Gonna be a Shootout 97. Sports, who cares? Twist and Metal, yes. And then Ridge Racer. Ridge Racer. One of Sony's first third-party supporters, Namco. And their first game, I think, was Ridge Racer. And that did well for the PlayStation. So, that's why Ken Kutaragi comes out during the PlayStation 3 and says, Ridge Racer. Everyone loves Ridge Racer, right? So, That's then. Even though it sold a lot, it's not really a cultural phenomenon. That's why it's awkward. Excuse me. Street Fighter Alpha 2. Sure. Couple number 1. NFL Game Day 97. Interesting. Die Hard Trilogy. Yes. These are the arcade games and then one original game. So the 2 knockoff Japanese arcade games, which were both fantastic if I remember correctly, and the knockoff ones. At least people said they're good. I got to play one. So the third game is more you can drive around stuff, and it's uniquely different. So that one's a cool one. Jet Moto, yes, that one was a lot of fun back then. Jet Moto on jet skis, and it's a racing game, and it seemed like a lot of action at the time. I'll tell you that. Vandal Hearts. I've seen that one, but that's a good one. Rallycross. Yeah, I played Rallycross too. That one was super fun. It was unique because both you and your opponent were driving in different directions. So one was driving straight, the other was driving backwards, and vice versa. And it still kept track of who made faster progress. And that led to some chaos sometimes. So you could head-on collide with your the person you're playing against. Or you could do it on purpose. Cause chaos, which I liked. So, Destruction Derby 2. Yeah, it's alright. Twisted Metal 2. Absolutely. Absolute. Amazing game at its time. So let's see. The first one sold a truckload, so Sony responded with a higher octane sequel featuring new drivers, new cars, new weapons, and can you believe it? Twice as much carnage as before. So, designers to put nothing more into the game. The game disc is completely full. I wonder if that's true. Considering the room available on a CD-ROM, this is an insane amount. Any FMV to speak of, really. The first Twisted Metal was incredibly fun, so little was done to the gameplay. The worlds are just bigger, as well as the weapons. Yeah. Now, this was cool. I remember it being awesome that you could shoot stuff that's off the map, like the Statue of Liberty, and you could shoot down the Eiffel Tower and stuff like that. Little product of its time. Remember, I remember you shot down the Statue of Liberty and she's wearing a bikini. Great. That's what it was at that time. Rage Racer. Crash Bandicoot, definitely. Suikoden and Suikoden, right? I would say that 5 different ways. 108th character to your party, cool. What about Soul Blade? Yes, the first Soul Calibur game. Essentially. Tekken 2. Some of the most detailed characters seen on the PlayStation. I absolutely love older Soul Calibur. Fantastic. Tekken 2. Whopping 23 fighters all come together for a tournament, including Heihachi, the funky old bald dude who Kazuya threw off a cliff at the end of the first Tekken. Dead-on gameplay and a ton of modes and options to make Tekken 2 one of the best fighting games ever. PlayStation 4 is actually better than the arcade, thanks to extra modes and new secret tricks. With loads of attacks and combos to master. All this, plus you can fight as a bear. Exactly, yes. First 10-hit combo. So that's where first 10-hit combos first... No, I think 10-hit combos were in the first game, right? I'm not sure. But it was definitely a selling point. So Tomb Raider was number 2. You're Laura Croft. Let's read some sexist shit. You're Laura Croft, a female Indiana Jones type adventurer who has special fondness for guns. You spend hours and hours getting lost, giant caves, solving puzzles, shooting things, and I don't know what it is. And vain, blah blah. So why it's well, first of all, there's Laura. Ooh la la. Then of course there's the gameplay. Game's got good action. Isn't to tally up the highest body count. Okay. Also makes you feel like you've accomplished something. When you beat the game in an hour, Laura says, pretty impressive. It then proceeds to disrobe while the theme Raiders of the Lost Ark plays in the background. Oh, that was just one of my weird Laura dreams. Resident Evil number 1. Well, that's what we were surprised Tomb Raider didn't make number 1. Near the start of the game, everything's quiet, then bam. Hellhounds come crushing through the windows right at you. Everyone jumps at that one. So Chris, the editor, says he wanted Tomb Raider number 1, Resident Evil number 2. Yeah, I agree. Tomb Raider, and then Biohazard. This guy's a huge fucking weeb. This starts with weeb talk. It's tough. It's tough to pick just one game. Everything but sports and racing game. But back then, I would say if you're a weeb, like, it's pure, right? You're absolutely... You might love Japanese media, but you are engrossed. That's just your being. I would say that's 100% authentic back then. So, Biohazard, Japanese styles for Resident Evil. Gotta love those zombies. The extra gory Japan only intro solidifies this top status. Tekken 2, Parappa, Toshinden. Cool. Steve likes fighting games. That's good. Blasto. I own this game. It's not very good. There's one part that I get lost on, and then it just sucks. So, supplying the voice of Captain Blast is none other than the great Phil Hartman. Rest in peace. Readers should remember from Saturday Night Live, as well as other roles like The Simpsons local movie star Troy McClure. Exactly. Several hundred phrases at Sony's LA studios. I blasted with a memorable personality. So yeah, rescue the babes. Most oddball characters ever. Yeah, so it was an okay game. Colony Wars, don't know. Castlevania. Here's a sneak preview. Everyone knows how great Castlevania Symphony of the Night is. That's pretty cool to see it back then. Gex 2. So finally not a port, got a sequel. Where, because the 3DO game ported to PS1 and on PS1 it sold way better. So I decided, okay, well, PS1 could be our market. So, which I guess was a smart move at that time, because sure wasn't going to last long. This was before Shrek. They knew you had to make references all the time. So, if your thing's garbage, just make references. So, MDK. Never played the first one. I played the second one on Dreamcast. I remember MDK stands for Murder, Death, Kill. So, something like that. So, Dynasty Warriors. So yes, Dynasty Warriors was originally a fighting game for PlayStation 1. Which, I don't know who they are marketing to. because I'm pretty sure nobody even knew about any Chinese history at this time. Unless, you know, you come from the culture. Pretty interesting. NFL Game Day 98. This is Castlevania music? Cool. Tomato 2. Do have that on PC. So yes, I remember seeing Laura everywhere. What was like at the time? Wild 9. Why the apostrophe? Wild 9s. So this was a good game. I think. You basically get a laser and then you're able to carry enemies and stuff like that, and you bring them to their deaths with these objects in the level, like grinders, propellers, all kinds of stuff. It was alright. It was solid. So it's from the people of Earthworm Jim. And I'm not sure if the voice actor is Tommy Tallarico, but probably is. Probably the music too. But what do I know? Probably a race. Force challenge. Fighting Force. That was the beat 'em up. One of the first 3D beat 'em ups. It was okay. I'm just skipping through because I'm getting tired of it. Here's your PlayStation lid cover. But yeah, you know, more preview of Fighting Force. Some people have good memories of Fighting Force. And it came with a 2-player versus mode. So, is this the same people as, Eidos on Core. So, they tried developing other stuff during Tomb Raider. Didn't fare as much as Tomb Raider, so they kept making Tomb Raider. Oh, here's a terrible game. MK Mythology Sub-Zero. Some of you know that, though. Sheeta Blade. And then Death Trap Dungeon. What the fuck? I never heard of those, but it got my attention. Did they cancel this game? I would think they would. Crash Bandicoot 2. Great game. Just little previews, you know. Do play the original if you haven't already. Know your PlayStation. Damn, this is all blurry as hell. I was just like, I guess at this time, like, I remember my dad saying that they were catching on fire at the time. It's because a lot of the earlier models or something were touching carpet and weren't able to ventilate. But I don't know how true that is, and he's kind of a liar, but according to this, if you leave it on for a long time and put it on a carpet, it's a bad idea. So who knows? So there's some peripherals, different controllers. So that's cool. Got some light guns, mouse, multi-tap. And then we got some other stuff, memory cards, classic. Problems with your software. I never encountered problems with my software. Has anyone? Because that was interesting that they had support numbers for this at the time. And I remember some were tip lines where you had to pay $1 a minute. But Is it? Oh, it's hacking your PlayStation. Swapping only works on the first run of PlayStations. Many import stores and mail order houses will do the modification for you. But you can never be sure they won't screw it up. I want to see if I can get a Japanese PlayStation one of these days. So here's a strategy guide. Kodo Town? Is that a real town? I don't remember. So yeah, just I don't know. Spoiler alert. That's cool. It's just seeing this stuff in the magazine is cool. It's just basically just like going through each section. I know the content is reading through it and finding any flaws, but but yeah, back then there's like no video guides. So you have to go like, go upstairs and through the leftmost door. Head down to the dungeon where Tifa is located. So it's just the, yeah, Don Corneo section. But that's okay. So we'll just go through this. Pretty cool. Materia orbs. They just shortened it to orbs. Review. Ray Storm. There we go. Spaz. I can't say that now. Twitch Games. There we go. I wonder how much this one is. Ray Storm. Probably expensive. So here's all of this stuff. Not Nibelheim. Nibelheim. Are they playing the Japanese version? Yeah, this will be interesting to read if you're a huge Final Fantasy VII fan. Which I'm not. You must first find her across the river between the Gongaga. Yeah. Cosmo Canyon. Which eventually you'll end up battling Yuffie. Running into her is a random event, so it may take a while before you actually fight her. The higher your luck statistics are, the more likely you'll find her. That's interesting. When you do encounter her, defeat her. You will then see her laying on the ground. Nearby will be a save point. Don't use it. It's a decoy. If you save the game, Yuffie will run away and you'll be forced to try and catch her all over again. Well, that's fun. Because back then, you were like, man, did I lose the opportunity forever? I'm going to restart. Utai, not Wutai. Utai. Final Fantasy VII big contest. That's cool. Now let's do these quiz questions. Cloud Strife is an ex-soldier for what huge corporation? Name Cloud's evil arch enemy. True or false? Chocobo is a large fish that carries Cloud across the ocean. What's the name of Aeris' hometown? So, some of these I can't read. What character does Cloud eventually go out on a date with? They thought it was just one character at the time. You can even date Barrett. What's the name of the rebel group that Cloud eventually ends up joining? Avalanche, of course. How many blocks of memory does Final Fantasy VII require to save a game? Cloud Strife appeared in any other Final Fantasy game. What's the name of the musical instrument that must be found on the northern continent? Oh, I don't know that one either. What's the Phoenix Down used for? How many coffins are there in the room where you find Vincent Valentine? Eris and Tifa seem to both be trying for Cloud's affections. Who do you think best deserves Cloud and why? So you had to write them a reason. That's cool. So here's some strategies for Ace Combat 2. Never played it, so I can't tell you. More Final Fantasy VII tips out of nowhere. Tip sleeves. Oh, here's some codes. That's cool. Excuse me. So, one of them. Spot goes Hollywood. Thank you, I need that one. Well, yeah, that's neat. Free issue, Ultra Game Players. That's cool. Street Fighter 3 and Tekken 3. So here's the codes for good games. What's this? Heihachi. For what? Xevious? I didn't know Heihachi was in Xevious. 3D. That's cool. And Paul. That's neat. What games are codes? Oh, here's some letters. Let's read these. This is from Douglas Fisher. Come on, Square. This is putting my 2 cents in for U.S. release of Tobal 2. This Sony customer demands that either Sony rescues Tobal 2 itself or Sony fixes my PlayStation so I can play imports without risking damage to my hardware. One or the other is only fair. Yeah, people wanted more access back then to the other games. Excuse me. The recent announcement that Tobal 2 is not going to be released in the US, it is possible that Sony intends to seize control and go ahead and release the title once it has the rights to do so. So does the third-party company get any profits from this? Alright. Next one. David Rios. Will PSM be dedicating any print space to the infamous skipping boat problem found in early PlayStations? Oh, that's true. I never received a straight answer. Sometimes it would hiccup on the disc when I was reading. I remember that. And then it would stop. And then it did this. So it's like, it would just span and then stop on one place on the disc. And then it would go, then spin again. You know, that's what it sounded like, so. Some games it did that for. I don't know why. Let's see. Tom, we saw some games that weren't driving, fighting, or first person. I'm getting tired of seeing the same games over and over with different graphics. That's what I complain about now. Is Ken too old? And if you're really looking for something new, keep an eye out for these games. These games are Parappa, Aquanaut, Holiday, Curse Heart, and IQ. I like IQ a lot. 2 games in particular, Aeon Flux and Ghost of the Show are of major interest to me. Do you have any info on these projects, like when if we see them stateside? Both are based on their anime roots and have major cult followings. They should sell well given the increased popularity of anime in the US. MTV put Aeon on the map. That game is years overdue. What's the deal? Any word is a welcome one. Steve, since I'm a big fan of anime myself, I'm always glad when an anime-based game makes its way over to Western shores. However, the anime fan base in the US is still comparatively small, so domestic companies seldom believe the games will do well here. The Outflux game has been in production for quite a while now, and PSM will strive to gain more info about it. As for Ghost in the Shell, it is slated for a late summer release in Japan, but will probably not show up on domestic stores. It did show up. And you play as a Tachikoma. I guess they had to do what they could do at the time. Let's see here. What's he say? I've heard rumors that Sony will introduce a 64-bit system soon. Is this true? In Singapore, we get a lot of Japanese systems. That's fine. Except we can only play Japanese games. Makes a lot of difference since our first language is English. Interesting. I didn't know that. You made the right decision to get a PlayStation. I like how he has a long letter and it says, "I'm certainly glad you made the right decision to get a PlayStation. How can you go wrong with such a huge library of games?" Oh, okay, never mind. I didn't see this. As for a Sony 64-bit system, I'm sure Sony would have nothing to gain by releasing a new system too early. That's true. Still has great plans for the PlayStation. It's Christmas '98. Yep, PlayStation contain Territory L. I like how it's for several reasons. Mostly it helps each branch of Sony control its own marketing and profits. As for playing US games on your Singapore systems, you could use the swap methods as well as the mod chip conversion. I've read that Mega Man X4 won't be coming to the PlayStation in the US. It did. I remember it did come because I own it. Chris, will you wear the purple cape at PSM? Next PlayStation until Christmas '98 at the earliest. Sequel to Warhawk. Legally, it's kind of a gray area if you get your system modified. Don't encourage it, and your warranty will be voided. However, it's not like the FBI is going to kick down your door or anything. They're happy with their modified PlayStations. However, for every 10 satisfied owners, there are probably 3 or 4 who have a horror story. So modify at your own risk. So checking around, and if you decide to go through with it, make sure you choose a reputable company to avoid any unpleasantness. However, the only surefire, 100% safe way to play Japanese games is simply to buy a Japanese PlayStation. Warning, this is one of those strange letters that always appear in a magazine's first issue. There we go. Dear PSM, I think you guys are great. PSM is my favorite PlayStation-only magazine. You guys know what's up in the latest news and previews, and your reviews are so informative. I buy every game you score highly. It's great that you cover imports as extensively as you do. Your RPG coverage is bar none. It's nice to see all this great content pulled together with an industry-leading layout and graphical design. Kudos to PSM and your great public service to us all deprived gamers. Thanks, Adam. You know, when we first started PSM back in the mid-'80s, an awful lot of people thought the idea of publishing a PlayStation magazine before there was even a PlayStation. Let's see. Well, I wish we'll feature more Japanese information. It did. Pure unpatched logos. iPad. I'm sure the same irreverence of Ultra GP was on too. How much you're going to distinguish yourself from the other PlayStation only mags? So that's fine. Just a bunch of different questions. There was a PlayStation release, a PS1, an upgrade kind of system. But that's okay. Mega Man Battle and Chase. That's not one I never heard of. I'm sick of censorship in video games. If Sony censors Final Fantasy VII, not just children on places, and us older folk. I'm 21. Need to drink after that. Many things and games that relate to us. I was so surprised that the infamous shit word made it into Vandal Hearts, but this is my point. Whenever a game has an M logo on the front, no one under 17 can buy it anyway. In conclusion, give us our 2D games back, and I don't censor the words and content within reason of another company's hard work and creativity. Thank you for your time. Okay. That's cool. When will you release the analog stick? Damn, I'm getting lightheaded from the coughing. Why did you abandon the link cable? These are hard to read. There's speedrunning. Can you beat our time for disc 1? Time on first disc was 27 hours. You just had to take their word for it. They could have lied easily. Yeah, 3 minutes. And he was just 2. I like that. Here's next month, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. And Final Fantasy 7 guide, Disc 2 and 3, Parappa the Rapper. Man, that was fun to look through. That was awesome. I'm glad it's available to look at. I'm going to take a break. That took a while to get through. If you're here, checking us out, thank you so much for watching. I don't know. I'll see if we can raid someone real quick. If anyone's even watching. Nope. I don't know how to do it. But anyway. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. And hope to read more soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.